because I truly felt like God wanted me to do this painting. And the reason I was so emotional that day was because I felt like this painting is either going to be all that Tavi remembers me for, or else a painting that I remember that the hard day that I'm gonna go through, like that I survived that hard day. It was like it's gonna be one of the two. I really feel like it's all the prayers from you guys. Hi guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel, Sylvia and Koree Bichanga. This evening, I'm going to be sharing with you guys my birth story and kind of a behind the scenes look at how my birth story was, what happened, and what the supernatural encounter was that I felt like I had weeks prior to the birth. So I hope you are going to enjoy today's video, and I'm also going to be shouting out Sorano's face products, so stay tuned for a full tutorial on how to use their products and why Koree and I's skin has majorly improved from what it was a few months ago. So without further ado, let's get into today's video.
I love you. I give you everything you want me to. Think about it if I could. I'd burn down the moon and give that to.
So guys, first of all, a few disclaimers. If you hear some music and singing in the background, it is actually a church close to here that's having like an overnight service. So yeah, that's what that's about. And also my mom and dad are still here. Yes, they are. And they are fixing supper right now, and Koree is taking care of Tavi to kind of give me a little bit of a moment to sit down and get my thoughts together and be able to talk to you guys about this. I didn't want it to be something that I just stumble over. I wanted to think it through and, you know, have a moment to share it in the way that I want to share it, and how I mean to share it. So also, if you see a fan here, yeah, that's what it is. It's really hot, and my hormones are still doing their thing. So also I'm by myself, so naturally my American accent comes out. So for those of you who will be in the comment section being like, don't be fake, don't be fake, when I'm with Kenyans, I automatically switch to a Kenyan accent without, I do it subconsciously. So because I'm by myself here tonight, that's the American accent is what is coming naturally for me. So that's what we're gonna do. So I want to talk about, for those of you who did not see the birth vlog and going home vlog, I'm just going to narrate the story a little bit for you, so that you can get it. So I went into labor and we went to Aga Khan. It was around 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was in labor for around 24 hours. And I gave birth to our son, Tavi Lee Bichanga. He was 4.1 kgs when he was born, or 9 pounds. And oh, we are so in love with him. And it's just been this magical, tiring, difficult, beautiful journey all wrapped up in one. But I was at the hospital for, I think it was 3 days. I had him with epidural and natural birth. So because it was my first baby and because he was so big, I ended up having pretty extensive tearing and also hemorrhaging. So let me set the stage for you. Tavi is just born. I just got to hold him. They take him over and are getting him dressed, and everybody's so excited and looking at him, and I'm being stitched up after the placenta was delivered. So far so good. Everybody's happy. Everybody's laughing. I'm very relieved that it's over. And then the nurse that was dressing him was like, the clothes you bought are like newborn clothes and he won't fit into them. So Koree decided, well, I'm going to run home and get some clothes that fit for him. So he left to pick those up. Mom and dad were just there with the baby. And finally, they had given him some formula because I was still being stitched up. And he fell asleep. I think dad went outside. There was like a parents' lounge. So he was outside, kind of in another building close to the hospital. And he was there resting and waiting for Koree to come back. And mom was there with me, and I was finally resting after they had stitched me up, and I was laying there on my side, and I started feeling like some pains going on in my stomach. It felt like cramps. And I was like, well, this is probably, after birth cramps. And it kept getting more intense and more intense. And I was like, man, this is painful. And the nurse was like, it's probably your uterus, contracting back to its normal size. And then I was like, but I also feel like fainting. And at the time, it never occurred to me that I might possibly be bleeding out. It never crossed my mind. I don't know why. But I just told her, I really feel lightheaded and faint. And she was like, okay. And she went out again. And I told mom, I'm gonna go. I'm going. I'm gonna faint. Like, this is it. And she went out and told the nurse, my daughter is gonna faint. You need to come in and look at her. And so she came in and she was like, all right, turn over, let me take a look. When I turned from my side to my back, I just felt, I heard like a gushing sound. And I felt like this warm wave. It felt like water. A warm wave of water going from my knees to my feet, but it was blood. I looked down and the bottom end of my bed was just covered in blood. And she looked really petrified and scared, and soon another nurse came in and they were moving things around, and then I heard an alarm going off throughout the whole hospital, and they were saying like code blue, and it was my room number. And I was like, am I dying? Am I dying? And I kept asking the nurse, like, what's wrong? And she's like, you have excessive bleeding and we need to stop the bleeding. And within minutes, there was like 8 people in my room. I will say Aga Khan was very prompt and they saved my life. And I still want to go back with some gifts and just thank the nurses there. So if you're a nurse watching, I'm coming for you. I want to bring some gifts and they saved my life. And for that, I will forever be grateful. And anyway, so there was like a guy trying to put an IV in my arm. There was another guy giving me water. And then the nurse puts on a glove, and I saw the glove went all the way up here. And I was like, oh no. And then she looked at me and she's like, just relax. Whenever they tell you that, do not relax. I mean, do, but don't, So she had to reach in and scrape out my uterus from blood clots because there was a piece of membrane left in my uterus. So she was with her hand scraping it out. My epidural was wearing off, but the guy who was in charge of the epidural had already gone home. The doctor had already gone home because it was around 10:30 when I gave birth, and now it was around midnight. So I was feeling it. I mean, some of it might have been slightly numbed by whatever epidural was still left, but it was so painful. I was screaming as loud as I could. It was so painful that it felt like screaming let out some of the pain. And I remember she had her hand on my stomach and was pressing on my stomach and reaching inside, and it was so painful. Yeah, not cool at all. I just remember I was like pushing her hand away, and I was like, please stop, please stop. And finally she looked at me and she's like, if I don't do it, who's gonna do it? Are you gonna do it? I need to do this or you're gonna bleed out. And she kept saying one more time, and she went in probably 8 or 10 times until she had all the blood clots out and everything removed. And I had just been stitched up because I had extensive tearing. Finally, the dust settled and I was able to go to sleep. They brought the baby for me to hold a little bit. So that is the experience of my birth. And I should have warned you, if you're pregnant, before hearing this story. You probably shouldn't have heard it. But just know everybody's story is different. Most likely you won't have this happen to you. So don't get your heart rate up. Don't feel fearful or nervous. But just know that God is in control of your story, just as he was in control of mine. And whatever happens, you're in the hands of God. And now to rewind a few weeks before I went into labor. I'm going to play a clip right now of the video that I had posted and the video that I'm talking about. In this video, I was just at home that day alone, and I felt God telling me, you have to do a painting, because I really didn't have anything else to do that day, and I was feeling anxious about the birth, overwhelmed, all the things. And he told me that day, you need to do a painting. And I was really emotional that day, and you'll see in the clip that I even said this video is more for me than for you guys, because I truly felt like God wanted me to do this painting. And the reason I was so emotional that day was because I felt like this painting is either going to be all that Tavi remembers me for, or else a painting that I remember that the hard day that I'm going to go through, like that I survived that hard day. It was like it's going to be one of the two. And that's why I was crying so much while I was painting, is because I felt like, yeah, like, and I didn't tell anybody until after the birth, because sometimes when you share some feelings like that you have, people will be like, no, don't even think about it. Don't even talk about it. Just push it away like it doesn't exist. And sometimes those things do exist, and it's God's way of prepping you, or almost like mentally preparing you for what's coming. And I really feel like that's what was the case that day, because I genuinely felt like this painting is all that's Tavi's going to remember me for, or else I'm going to remember this painting as the day that I got through this difficult time. And it was just like God was telling me, you're going to go through something big, and you're either going to die or you're going to survive it, but it's going to be traumatic. And so I had a few weeks to think over that, and I'll show you this painting right after the clip of that day. So I'm literally sitting here painting, and I'm looking for some, I don't know, today I felt like painting something to represent me and baby Cappuccino. So that's what we're gonna do today. And I was just having this moment where I didn't feel the need to be nesting and getting the house ready and getting stuff ready, and just trying to calm myself. You know, I'm naturally an anxious person. And then I thought, like, why not just film this? Honestly, more for myself than for you guys. Just to be able to look back on, you know, this point in my life. Okay, I'm not gonna start crying. But, you know, just to kind of document this time in my life where I felt like I might not be able to do it, or I'm sorry. I wasn't gonna cry. I've never cried on camera before, so this is weird for me. So let me set up my phone and let's see what this painting turns out to be. So yeah, as you can see, that day was very emotional for me. And here's the painting that I did that day. And I'm not an artist by any means. I just paint a little bit here and there, and the faces didn't turn out how I wanted it to, but I didn't know what I was going to paint that day, and this is just kind of what happened. And the way I kind of interpreted it was, you know, the darkness in the back, that I'm going to go through something difficult. Um, and then Tavi and I here, and then it's like there's a light here with us. And I really think it's all, I don't want to cry. I really feel like from it's all the prayers from you guys, and you know, just from family and friends that were praying protection over us, and um that God would be with us, you know. And it was just it was like God was telling me, you're going to go through a dark time, but there's going to be light, there's going to be redemption and healing. And so that's what this painting is, and I want to get it framed and hang it up here in his nursery. But this was like, I think there's a few tears on the back, but this is the painting I did that day, not knowing if this is all my son would remember me for, or if I would have this as a testimony of what I went through. Thank God it's the last. You know, it's the latter one. I have a testimony of what I went through. And also it was, I think, a few weeks, or at least a week after I did this painting, that I had a really strange dream. And I dreamed that I was giving birth to Tavi. And funny thing, in the dream he looks like he does. Like, I hadn't seen him yet, but in the dream he genuinely looks like he does now. I couldn't see the face clearly in the dream, but when I went, it's like I gave birth to him and I reached down and picked him up. And when I looked in his face, he looks like he does now, or like he did right at birth. Anyway, I was telling Koree this dream, and we were kind of laughing about it because it was kind of silly to us. But later, looking back, it really helped me. But when I went to pick him up and put him on my chest, he looked at me and he said, "It's going to be okay," in Swahili. And I told Koree, isn't that so strange? Like, why would a baby talk straight out of the womb? Like, why would he talk to me, and why would he tell me it's going to be okay? But when I was laying there and I was bleeding out, and I was just praying to God, and I was like, you know, if this is my time to go, whatever is your will. I didn't know Mom and Dad were praying in another room because Mom couldn't be in with me because of the way everything was. It was just too much for her. But I was just praying, like, God, whatever your will is, you know, just be with my husband and my son. And I kept thinking about the painting. Like, at least I have that. But then at the same time I would hear, like, I would be going back to my dream. I should have known to bring tissues. Let me use Tavi's little cloth. But I should have known that that's what the dream was about. But it didn't come to me until quite a bit later. And I kept thinking, Tavi told me it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And it's kind of what carried me through that time. And I don't know, I just felt God so close when I was there, and I was praying, and I was just telling him, God, you know, whatever is in my life, I just want to be right with you, and I'm coming to meet you, and if not, help me get through this and heal me. And thankfully God did. But it was just such kind of a backstory that wasn't shown through our YouTube video of the birth and everything that happened, because I didn't tell anybody about it until I think it was the day before we left the hospital that mom and dad were there and Koree was there, and I started crying and I told them the story. That it was like I got a forewarning that something was going to happen, but I knew I couldn't tell anybody because they would all just tell me, no, just pray, it won't, nothing is going to happen, everything will be okay. You know, people love to tell you that even when they don't know that everything will be okay. And sometimes everything is not okay, but God is still with you and God is still part of your story, whether it goes good or bad. He has a plan and we need to trust his heart, you know? But yeah, it was just really such a testimony to how much God loves us. You know, that he knew I was going to go through something, and it was like he was mentally preparing me, like through that painting, like, just do this, you'll need it one day. And I just think that's so beautiful that God has that father heart for us. And also just to give me that dream that Tavi was telling me everything's going to be okay in Swahili. I really treasure that because I feel like I needed that in those dark moments, you know, just to know that everything's going to be okay. And I truly felt like it was going to be okay whether I was here on earth or not. That he was telling me, like, we're going to be okay, or Dad and I are going to be okay. And that was a comforting thing for me. And I know this is really something personal to share, but I just wanted to share it for any other people or ladies out there who might be pregnant or might be feeling scared about the birth or overwhelmed the way I did. I know people can tell you, it's okay, ladies do it every day, you'll be fine. But inside, you're not. You feel scared, especially if it's your first time. You feel scared, you feel vulnerable, you feel all the what ifs. What if this happens? What if that happens? And I just want you to know that just pray about it, give it to God, and trust him that he is going to walk through with you, and that in the end it is going to be your story for his glory, and that things will be okay. So anyway, that is my birth story and what I really had on my heart that I wanted to share with you as a testimony of God's love to us. That at times he mentally prepares us, and at times he gives you dreams of confirmation. And today or that day, it was a dream of, you know, it's going to be okay. And just to know that we have a father that has a heart like that. If you don't have an earthly father that cares for you in that way, I just want you to know that your heavenly father does. He cares for you like a child of his own, because you are. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. And changing gears, let's get into our video where we are going to show you how to use the Sorano face products. So let's get into that right now.
Hello, Ramona. I can't shake the simplest feeling beyond the ghost. We stand on the opposite shore. Hello, Ramona.
You see that smile there? This is the smile Sorano face products can bring to you too. Here is the first step, and this is their scrub, and they call it a weekly scrub. So you would use this scrub once or twice a week, just to clear out your pores and make sure that the rest of the amazing products are getting into your pores and into your skin and even being effective. If you don't do a face scrub, at times there can be dust and buildup in your pores that makes so that other face products don't actually get into your skin the way they should. but this amazing scrub has so many benefits for your skin and is recommended to use once or twice a week. You just wet your skin a little bit and rub that right into your skin and rub it in for 5 to 10 minutes to make sure that you get all the benefits that it has for your skin and give it time to be on your skin. So that's what Koree is up to right now. Koree is going to demonstrate how to use their amazing foaming facial wash. And you just wet your face and then put this face wash on and rub it in your face for a few minutes. Let it get into your skin. And then you just go ahead and rinse that off. And the thing I really love about their face wash is a lot of, natural face products don't have a lot of foam or suds to them. But this face wash is really nice and foamy and sudsy. And they also recommend not to use a face towel to dry your face, but to just pat dry it. And after that's done, you can go straight in with their amazing toner. You just spray that right on your face. And after the face wash, it just really brings a nice, for me, it feels like it just removes all the excess oil from your face and gives a nice base to start with their moisturizing. And this is for the morning routine. You would start with your vitamin C and the hyaluronic acid. But because this is at night, Koree is going to go ahead and use their balancing oil. And this is the step for at night. We use about 4 drops of that, and so this is the moisturizer at night, and the vitamin C serum is what you would use as the next step here in the morning. So it would be the face wash, the toner spray, and then the vitamin C serum in the morning. So at night it's the face wash, toner spray, and then this facial balancing oil or balancing facial oil. Just really brings the moisture back into your face after washing it and putting the toner on. And these products are for all skin types, so no worries about the oil. It doesn't leave oily residue. And what he's using here right now is the collagen face cream, and this just locks in all the moisture. We absolutely love this cream, and again, it doesn't leave that oily feel to your face. If you massage it into your face, your skin just eats it up. It doesn't leave all this oil sitting on the top of your skin where the rest of the day you feel oily. So you go ahead and rub that in for a few minutes. And then the last step, again, for during the day would be sunscreen. You could add sunscreen on top. Obviously, we don't do that for our evening routine. But for the morning routine, it would go along with the vitamin C serum. So you compare those two with your morning routine.
Thank you so much, family, for coming to watch this video. A big shout out goes to Sorano Organics. Ever since I started using these products, my face, it has cleared up. I remember I used to have pimples, black spots, you can name them. But through these products, my face, it has cleared up, courtesy of Sorano Organics.
Sad eyes, don't you cry, 'cause you know. Little sad eyes, love will come, love will go. But when you're strong, you never ask why. But can you learn to love your weakest side? Little sad eyes, I see you carry all that pain. in life. If the hurt is all in vain, but you'll get through.
I lose my breath whenever I see you. You stole my heart, what is it that you do? My life was great till you added colors. Like the moon needs the sun, we don't care about the others. You set my